Hi, welcome to Lab 4. This will be an individual assignment where we will be looking at how to write a method section. So I'll welcome you to the lab and then you'll be able to go ahead and work. Um, in this assignment, we won't actually be using the breakout room function. We'll have you guys all as a collective, have you guys work, and then if you guys would like to work as groups or if you have questions for me, then we can split off breakout rooms at that point. But this will be an individual assignment, and I'm going to walk you through how do you write a method section. Again, here's the assignment. This little lab has two learning goals: to develop your ability to write an APA method section and to develop your ability to write concisely and clearly. The method section is due tomorrow at 8 a.m. And today's assignment is individual, as I mentioned, and you'll be submitting a Word document. Each person will be submitting their own assignment, and the assignment has just this one part. You'll be writing a method section for either the flanker or the multitasking task. So you just need to pick one of them and you're writing a method section. This second paragraph tells you a little bit of information about the theoretical experiment that you did. So you have 100 freshman undergraduates, so on and so forth. Make sure your method section includes a design section, a participant section, a measure section, and a procedure section. We'll go through each of those sections in a second, and make sure to explain in detail the sequence of events over the course of the experiments. If you need to include a diagram, you're welcome to, but the goal of a method section is for another person to understand exactly what you did and to be able to replicate what you did if they wanted to. So let's look at a method section. This is just an example of a method section, and sometimes there are paragraphs before the participant section. You don't necessarily need to have one. The participant section is over here, and it describes the people who participate in your study. They are participants, not subjects, and you should mention the number of participants, the percentage of female and male, the mean standard deviation of age, as well as ethnicity or any other demographic information that you collect. Then comes the research design, which is going to have what are the independent and dependent variables of your experiment. So you're going to need to think thoroughly through what are the independent and dependent variables of the flanker task or the multitasking task that you want to look at. Going back to Site Toolkit and reading up on those tasks might be helpful here. Just as a clue, both of those tasks use some form of within subjects design. Then comes materials, and in this section you need to describe the tests or instruments you use to collect the data. So for these two tasks, the flanker and the multitasking task, you need to describe in detail how each of those trials work, because that is the actual measure. So the measure of a flanker task, what is actually going on within those trials, what is actually going on when you participate in that task. This is going to be a little bit different than in your previous classes where you've often had scales here. Here you have a computer-based task, and so you need to describe what are the timing functions, what are the keys that you're using, what are the stimuli that are being presented, what are the responses and what is the goal and what are the instructions and all of those things. The more detail that you can put in here, the better. Last is the procedure, and this section describes the data collection procedure. So imagine that you are an experimenter and you're bringing in participants in the double basement of the psychology building. How is that participant experience happening? So this isn't about the specific trials of the experiment, but rather the participant experience as a whole. Let's now look at a method section for a task like the flanker or the multitasking task. So here we have a method, we have a participant section. This person had 24 undergraduate students enrolled in advanced cognitive psychology. This person has a research design assessing mood on performance of an emotional strip task. Just a reminder, this is not your task. So make sure you are pulling in the information from the flanker and the multitasking task and bringing it into a new draft. They have materials, they have some writing prompts, they have some word lists, and they describe each of those trials. So they have all the words represented in capital letters in 22-point font. That's the type of level of detail that we would like you to have. And then you have a procedure. What is the participant experience as they kept going? So they completed the study in class as a demonstration, so on and so forth. Participants, after all the participants completed the strip test, participants were debriefed as a group. So describe the participant experience, and here it's going to be a little bit made up. So use that paragraph in the assignment to be able to think about what that participant experience could look like and write something there. Your method draft should likely be more than one page double spaced. It doesn't necessarily have to be, but if you are less than one page double spaced, you likely don't have enough detail in there. So um, when you're thinking about, do I have enough detail? If you're coming up to 2 pages double spaced, that's probably 2 pages, 3 pages, that's probably around the right range. If you're going 4 or 5, that's probably a little bit too much detail as well. If you have any questions while you go through this assignment, I'm going to be there during lab to help you out. Make sure you finish the quiz at the end of this video, and we'll see you next lab session.